The SEO tool SearchAtlas promises to replace most of your SEO stack with one sleek platform. From content strategy to technical audits and AI writing. On paper, it sounds like a dream, but does it really deliver?
And how does it stack up against other tools like Hike, Surfer, and the big names in like Moz and Semrush? Stick around, we're cutting through the hype in today's deep dive.
Welcome to the marketing podcast for local businesses, where we provide local businesses in the UK with practical marketing advice to help them grow. I'm founder of Website Designers London. My name is Adam. WebsiteDesigners.London is one of the UK's top 1% online marketing agencies helping businesses generate tens of millions of pounds.
And I'm Josh, I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO agency based in South London.
So, let's get straight into it, shall we? What is SearchAtlas? Specifically, their newish tool called Otto SEO. So, created, again, relatively new player in the space. They kind of market themselves as an all-in-one solution. In fact, I briefly used them for a couple of days. I didn't spend much time on the platform, I'll be honest, before I cancelled. Again, that's my personal opinion. It's what I kind of was keen to explore was the all-in-one, do-it-yourself. You know, what it promised to do for me sounded great, and that's what I kind of tried to sign on. I signed on, but then cancelled shortly after, and I'll explain why. So look, what does it say it's going to do? And as I say, you know, this is based on some initial research, and happy to be happy for everybody else's inputs in the. Please do leave a comment on this episode if you disagree, agree, want to correct us. Happy to have that conversation. So it promises to kind of complete an audit of your site, help with local SEO, keyword research, produce content using AI. Track your backlinks, and if you're an agency, an SEO agency, some white label reporting too. So it kind of positions itself like similar tools to Hike SEO. So again, but although Hike kind of is more targeted for local SEO, and you know, it's not as Hike isn't as kind of all-in-one encompassing, I'd say, and it also tries to compete with tools like Neil Patel's Ubersuggest. Then there's Semrush, Ahrefs, Moz, though, and I'd say, you know, those last three are more kind of professional tools, but I would say my favourite tools. And I don't know, Josh, do you agree, disagree with kind of what you currently use? Is that the stack you use?
Semrush and Moz are the two that we use the most.
Yeah. So look, Otto SEO by SearchAtlas, their kind of target audience are small businesses, freelancers and small SEO agencies, and also in-house marketing teams with limited SEO experience. So that's the target audience. Now, let's move on from that.
Awesome. So let's have a look at the feature by feature breakdown and compare it versus other softwares out there. So first and foremost, SEO site audits. It's a fundamental part of your SEO campaign. You need to review your site, find out what's wrong with it, and fix it. And this tool has a very user-friendly audit tool which creates priority scores, shows you things that are missing. For example, if there's a missing meta description, if your title tags aren't great, if you have broken links, if the website load speed is not great, / the Google Core Website Vitals. So it gives you a nice audit, and gives you some changes to make based on priority scores. This compared to other tools out there, like for example Hike, I would say, although this is just from research, I haven't used Hike. Hike is more tailored towards local and small business sites rather than this tool, which I feel seems to be aimed more at agencies to kind of speed up the process of doing an SEO audit and making fixes. So Hike seems to be better for local and small business sites. versus Semrush, versus Ahrefs, versus Moz, I feel these tools, which I mentioned, are kind of more professional tools, have a lot more to them. They're more advanced, and from my point of view, I'd rather use those. But if you're a beginner or you don't have much skill in SEO, then this tool could well be useful. So, all in all, the verdict is it's decent for surface level fixes. It gives you lots of good ideas, and with AI, which we'll go into later. But sometimes it can get it wrong. Sometimes it's not great. It can spell things wrong. But yes, it's decent for surface level fixes. But technical SEOs will probably outgrow it.
Amazing. Keyword research. So look, I think it's very, very basic. It does kind of cluster keywords for your content strategy. It does have a nice kind of clean. I say clean. It's a clean interface, but it can be a bit complicated and overwhelming at first. It does provide kind of keyword difficulty and volume, but I do think the larger players like Ahrefs, Semrush, Moz, Google Keyword Planner, so what I'd say the horse's mouth Google Keyword Planner, definitely more accurate databases, obviously, because all these tools scrape data from the likes of Google and Bing, right? So verdict, I'd say Ahrefs, Moz, Google Keyword, definitely more comprehensive.
Perfect. So moving on to the third point, which is the AI content generation tool and optimization tool within Otto. So much like Surfer SEO does, it kind of offers you a score based on a variety of criteria they've set. I would assume it's based on the current top 10 pages ranking Google for a given keyword. So you might copy show the content for your page, select the keyword, and then it will give it a score. So this is useful information, tells you where to improve, what you can add to the site. It's kind of like the reverse engineering what's currently working versus your site. So this tool is certainly useful. It can help write content as well, as far as I understand, although I haven't used it extensively.
Okay.
And that is useful, but it is slightly against Google's policies. Google doesn't really want you to auto-generate content. It needs it to be expert, authoritative, trustworthiness. Google EAT acronym. And if you're using AI to generate your content, you could argue it doesn't have any actual real-world expertise or authority on the subject matter. So that could be a problem. There are done-for-you templates as well for blogs, for landing pages, which would be useful. Compared to the competition, there's other softwares out there like Surfer SEO that does a similar thing with the content reverse engineering work, which in my opinion I haven't used it extensively, so I can't really give a thorough comparison, but I do prefer Surfer, if I'm to be honest. There's other tools out there as well, like NeuronWriter, WriterZen, which apply more NLP, rich, reliable content briefs, and other softwares like Hike, from what I understand, don't actually offer this type of thing. So that's useful. So the AI content creation, strong contender for that, but is it against Google's policies? Therefore, should you use it or not? I'm not sure.
Very, very helpful. So now if we think about their kind of link building, or what we call backlinks. So, I mean, they do have a feature where you can, what they call their link building outreach or digital PR tool. And they offer to find link prospects and perform the kind of tailored outreach to automate that workflow. However, ultimately, any good SEO agency will have their own database of backlink, of websites to get you those backlinks. So and the suggested link targets seem to be quite generic. And if we think about the likes of Ahrefs, I believe, for me personally, they're kind of light years ahead of link discovery analysis. So I do think it's probably one of their weakest areas, and only probably useful for kind of monitoring, not a link building tool per se.
Cool. Next we have the reporting side of things and white label tools. So there's some clean dashboards. You can add if you're an agency and you want to white label things, you can upload your logo, export PDFs, and you get weekly, monthly summaries available based on key SEO metrics, which is great. Hike also do something similar, but it's more geared towards small business owners, as we mentioned earlier. Other softwares like Semrush, Moz, Ahrefs have more advanced reporting systems and integrations. So probably fine to use if you're just a small business owner. If you're an SEO pro, maybe you'd want to use a more sophisticated piece of software.
Absolutely. Amazing. So look, pros and cons. Pros, yeah, they kind of the all-in-one seems to be convenience on the surface of it. I'm not sure it is though. Sorry, Josh, I know I'm stealing your segment of the cons here, but I just need to say my piece as well, and you can feel free to intervene. It's $99, but if you cancel, everything will be undone. Something they don't really talk about, funnily enough. So there was a Reddit, I read a Reddit thread, which someone said, well, what happens if they do all this work through putting code onto your website? They do all this great work. So what happens if I cancel my membership? Well, everything's undone. If you were to kind of use a professional SEO agency like ours, we wouldn't do that. You've paid for a service, and you leave that service once we've done that. If in month 7 or in month 22, you say, hey, I'm or you finished the segment of the kind of the term that you've signed up for, and say, hey, I don't want to do it anymore. We're not going to go and be like, well, we're going to remove all the work we've done. No, you've paid for that. Whereas SearchAtlas make you pay an additional fee to keep the work they've done. So I do think it's extremely cheeky, somewhat unethical in my opinion. Probably going to get sued for that, but that's my opinion. That's my kind of all-in-one benefit and con. Good from basic level, but I wouldn't suggest it to people, to be honest with you. There are cheaper and more effective tools out there.
Cool. Yeah. So from my point of view, I've got a list of cons here, so don't see me as well for this. But I guess the main thing is they're not a best in class for anything. So they do a lot of things, and to be fair, that's useful and it's helpful, especially for people who don't know much about SEO. If you're an agency that can't do SEO and you need something that's quick and fairly cheap to implement on behalf of your clients. So there's some backlink features, there's the content generation features, there's some local SEO features, there's the technical audit features. They're all okay, but they're not super high level, and therefore I wouldn't rate it super highly if you're a pro SEO. Amazing.
Well, look, that's our deep dive into kind of SearchAtlas by Otto SEO. Some cracks if you look closely. If you're starting out, no, not even if you're starting out, sorry to say. Google keyword analysis is free. ChatGPT is free. Type a question in there. ChatGPT will help you. I'd say use that instead. Happy for people to comment and disagree. Happy to have that debate. No problem at all. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch you next week.